out there that are, they're clamoring for the seed as well.
Yeah.
So even the woody species and some of the upland species are, that's been a real big deal. And I'll just give you a real quick story about that, and then we'll move inside where it's a little bit warmer. But, the Federal Forest Service came to us about 3 years ago, and they had purchased a bunch of seed, grass seed for wildfire re-veg. And they were in a kind of a bind because they got this seed at a really good price, but they didn't have anywhere to store it. CSU couldn't accommodate them, and the next nearest cooler facility was on the western slope. And so they asked us, and we had space. You'll see that seed today. And it's been a real nice relationship because those guys can come out here, they can mix seed, and they can take it right out to the job site. And then we get a little bit of money because historically we would turn those coolers off in, say, June or July to save money because we don't need to hold the bare root anymore. So we got a little bit of money to keep the coolers on. Real nice relationship. But that one chance meeting really opened the door to all these other players that we were introduced to and we were able to build relationships really quickly with, and recognize that, hey, we're missing out big time on what we could, where we could be used as a real good resource for some of this ecotypic plant material. And it's just kind of grown and blossomed and snowballed on us. And now we're at the point now where we're really serving, I think, a critical need. And more importantly, I mean, not more importantly, but as important is it's kind of building credibility for what we do and for the nursery. Again, like I said, I hate to armchair quarterback or talk about the past because those managers were under certainly different circumstances. But we had a little bit of fence mending to do and relationship building and stuff like that. And so to build up credibility for what we're doing was real critical. And I think that we'll see the fruits of that labor in two ways. That being able to be a resource, but also kind of building a little bit of credibility for the nursery and the program. I'll mention real quick, just because we're going to walk into the coolers right here. One of the things that we do out here, of course, is bare root production. Everybody familiar with that term, bare root production? So essentially, any of the fields that we're growing in, we'll sow those in the spring. If it's a spring sow, if it's a 2-0 crop, it gets sown in the fall and stays out there for 2 years. Once the crop is ready, we go out there with a tractor and an implement that's cleverly called the tree lifter, and that's exactly what it does. It's PTO driven. It comes in and it's got a blade that undercuts the roots on the bare root plant material. The motion of the tractor kind of forces that soil and the plant material up onto a serrated grate, and the PTO kind of shakes that grate and knocks off all that soil and then leaves the bare root plant material on the ground behind it. As the plant material is sitting there, the crews are right behind it, getting it up off the ground as fast as they can, loading it into Gaylords, which are just 4x4x4 produce boxes, and then we bring it into the cooler building. And I just wanted to touch on that real briefly. We can talk about bare root if you want to, but I just wanted to mention that's one of the reasons that we have this facility down here. It's a really nice way to store our bare root plant material, maintain dormancy. Of course, that's when we do the lifting, is once the plant material has gone dormant. But that's where the plant material will stay until it's time to be graded, and then of course packaged and shipped off. But I wanted to touch on that real quick because that really is the reason for the cooler building, the processing building. What you're going to see though today is kind of two facets of our operation. One is kind of the historical one. We're getting ready to roll these trucks here pretty soon, and so you're going to see the student hourlies and some folks in there boxing up our plant material, getting it ready to send out. Then another gentleman in there, he's working, and this poor guy, I think if he ever sees a bandsaw again, it'll be too soon. But Jeremy is in there processing all of our collections. So this is plant material that will be used as poles that you just, everybody I think is familiar with that term. You just stick those poles right in the ground for riparian restoration, and then any of the sticks that he gets off those poles, we'll use that for our vegetated production. You'll see that in the greenhouse, but really that's a byproduct of the pole, and then we take that stick and then we stick them in the tubes, and then that's a rooted plant that you'll get to see that too today. So I know I'm clicking right along, so if anybody has any questions, please let me know. I'd like to introduce Zach. This is Zach Clark Lee. He is our container supervisor, and he's in charge of all of our seeding operations, all of our shifting operations, and basically, anything to throw at you, right? Yeah,
when he comes at me with a grin, I just kind of turn around.
Yeah, he knows to walk away and get going. So, but let's go inside, warm up just a little bit, and we'll show you